Hey there, it's Rob. We are going to introduce you to the Blue Book today, so I hope you are very, very excited. But first of all, just relax. It's not as bad as everyone says it is. You just want to accept the fact that it's going to take some time to get the hang of it. It's very new, it's very different. Remember that you can't be good at everything right away. But spend time learning it now. It's going to make your life a lot easier when you're writing your assignments for this class, and especially during write-on for journals in the spring. So, why do we cite? We cite because it supports your assertions, it explains your rationale, it reveals the weight of authority that you're using, and most importantly, it takes the pressure off of you. It adds credibility and it subtracts liability from your argument. It also does that nice little thing of avoiding plagiarism. So when do we cite? We want to cite every time we have a fact, thought, or opinion that comes from another source, even if you paraphrase. If you think it's possible to cite something, you probably should. That's my rule of thumb. So here's a little practice. Take a look at this. Do you think we should cite? Yeah, we probably should. That's how a cite would look. We'll get there soon. But this is information that can't just come from your own head. You needed to find this out somewhere else, so you need to let your reader know where you found that information. What about here? Do you think this is a good place to cite? No, you probably don't need a cite there. That sounds like a conclusory statement to me. It's probably based on some evidence that you've already given and that you have cited, but that's probably the conclusion that you came to, so it's not needed. So now that we've kind of talked about when we need to cite, let's talk about how we know how to cite. We use the Blue Book. The Blue Book is a uniform system of citation. It's a dominant authority on citation form. It's used for most court documents. Just know that it's different from some other types of citations. Some people, might be using AWOD in their CLR class. Be really happy that you're in a class that's using Blue Book, because Blue Book's what's used for the journals, so you're going to have a heads up when that time comes around. Also, know that it's different from Westlaw and Lexis citations. They're going to look really similar, and you're going to inevitably be tempted to just use their citations instead of doing the Blue Booking yourself. Don't do that. There are going to be things that are different, and you're going to lose points on your assignments. So let's kind of look through our Blue Book and get used to it. You'll see on the front and back inside covers you have some quick references. That is kind of a shorthand of the rules once you get familiar. Then the concise rules are in the blue pages. I use the white pages most of the time. They're what work best for me. They're actual detailed rules with all of the fine print and exceptions and yada yada. Rules 1 through 9 are going to apply to all authorities. Rules 10 through 21 are special rules for particular authorities. For example, Rule 10 is all the information on cases. Following the white pages, you'll have the tables and abbreviations. These are going to help for all of your citations. For example, Table 1, you're going to have all of your abbreviations and reporters and everything for United States jurisdictions. Table 6 is abbreviations for words and case names. So definitely get to know those sections as well. And then in the back you have your index. That's always the best place to start. If you're not sure what rule is going to apply, you can look up what you're trying to cite in the index, and it'll tell you exactly where to go. So now that we've talked about how to figure out your citation, let's talk about what a citation looks like. So the citation is going to follow the sentence that you are supporting. You'll end your sentence with the proper punctuation and then follow with your citation sentence. Then you'll end that citation sentence with a period. So you'll see there the basic case citation structure. I'll try to give you a fill-in-the-blank version, and then what one would actually kind of look like with the party names. Now a typeface note. You'll notice that for legal writing, you can italicize or underline the case name. Here in this class for Professor Borman, you're going to want to italicize the case name. Now, a note with that, notice that the comma following the case name is not italicized. All punctuation in the case name is italicized, but the comma after is not. So, starting with the case names, Rule 10 is definitely where you want to look here. There are a lot of things that you want to omit. For example, the given names or initials of individuals, unless they're part of a business name, you're not going to want to use them in your case name. We're trying to be concise. We're trying to save space. We're trying to give you as much information as you need, but no more than that. So here is a list of most of the things you want to omit. If you want to pause and really read over it, definitely also look at Rule 10 though, because I can't promise you that everything is here. Now, as far as what to abbreviate, of course you're going to abbreviate verses to V period. I'm sure you've seen that in all of your casebooks. You also want to abbreviate the words listed in Rule 10.2.1c and words in Table 6. When the word is a state, country, or other geographical unit, in Table 10 you want to abbreviate that as well, unless the unit is a named party. You can also abbreviate when the word is 8 letters or more if the abbreviation would save substantial space and the abbreviation would clearly refer to the party named, or when the name of a party can be abbreviated to widely recognized initials. In that case, do not include periods in the abbreviation. An example of that would be NAACP. Everyone knows what the NAACP is. You can just use NAACP and not use the full name. Now you do not want to abbreviate United States to US. And then you can tell I've had a year of law school because I feel the need for a disclaimer. This is an overview, but make sure you refer to your ICW and the Blue Book and not these slides when working on your citations. So moving on to location, now that you've said the name of the case, we want to tell the reader where they can find that case. And they're going to find that by looking in a reporter. So the location is going to be the volume of the reporter, the name of the reporter, the page the case starts on, and then the page that the specific information you're referring to is on. That's called a pin site. So a reporter is a compilation of judicial opinions. You want to look in Table 1 for the proper abbreviation of the reporter. Also, some cases are printed in more than one reporter. So Table 1 will tell you if you should cite to a specific reporter in situations where a case has been published in more than one reporter. Now, reporters get published all the time, so you want to include the volume number there, and then the page the case starts on. Now, a little bit of advice. When you print these cases off from Westlaw and Lexis, you'll see that there are multiple page numbers for the multiple reporters that the case appears in. The numbers are differentiated with number of asterisks, so make sure you're consistent in using the right page numbers. And then, like I said, the pin site is a page containing the relevant information that you wish to direct the reader's attention to. You can also list a range of pages. So, a little test, let's do this together. If you want to direct your reader's attention to information on pages 438 through 439 of a case that starts on page 433 of the 54th volume of the Pacific Reporter, the location part of your site would read as... Go ahead and pause this for a minute and try it out. Hopefully it looks something like that. Moving on, we want to tell the court that the case was ruled in and the year that the case was decided. So you want to look in Table 1 again for how to abbreviate the court. If you need to abbreviate a state, for federal cases you'll find the abbreviation for the state in Table 10. For state cases, follow the abbreviation for the state in Table 1. You want to put space between your abbreviations unless both abbreviations are only one letter long. If the court is obvious from the reporter, for example, only Supreme Court cases are in United States reports, you don't need to list the court, you'll only list the year. And the year is the year the case was decided and not argued or filed. So if a case was decided in the Northern District of Illinois in 1985, page 217 is going to tell you how to abbreviate for a district court. Page 437 tells you how to abbreviate Illinois. And it'll look something like that. So for a little bit of review, I have this generic fake case right here. I used asterisks for the spaces so you can tell how everything is spaced. A reminder to not italicize the comma following the case name. To place a comma after the first page of the case if you're using a pin site. And enclose the court name and year in parentheses. Then end your citation with a period. So let's give this a shot. Go ahead and read that. Pause the video. Take some time, take a first crack at doing a citation, and see what you come up with. Hopefully you have something that looks like that. So for the first party name, John Snow, we don't use given names, so we only have the last name. And then for the second party name, Winterfell Mutual Bank, mutual is one of those words that's listed in the table for abbreviated words, so we needed to abbreviate that. It's the 33rd volume, and then the third edition of the Pacific Reporter. The case begins on the 39th page. The information is on page 45, and then that's the way to abbreviate Alaska Court of Appeals, and then the year. So congrats, that's your introduction to the Blue Book. I'm sure it's really confusing right now. We just talked about a lot of things in the abstract. It's going to get a lot easier as you practice and put this into practice, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing in class next time. So just take a deep breath, go get a beer from your fridge, relax, and we'll see you in class tomorrow and go from there.